Hi everyone, my name is Vikram Datta and welcome back to Unmung Talks once again. Today we have a very interesting guest with us who will be joining us in a minute. Her name is Dr. Shambhavi Alve and she's a practicing psychologist, a counseling psychologist, and she's also the founder of a virtual healing studio called as Puja, the Manifest the Life Within. She's just joined in Dr. Shambhavi to the session. Just waiting for her to join.
Hello,
Hello, Vikram.
so good to see you.
Same here.
Thank you so much for joining in. I was just telling all our viewers that today it's you, Dr. Shambhavi, who is joining us. And you are a counseling psychologist by profession, and you also have a virtual healing studio that goes by the name of Uja Manifest the Life Within.
Absolutely.
Uh, Thank you so much for joining in. I will just set in the tone for today's discussion, first of all, so
Right.
that our viewers have an understanding as to what we are going to discuss. So the theme that we have set, which you helped me out so graciously with, thank you so much for that, is meditation for mental hygiene. And I think nothing more relevant today because that seems to be a discussion, or rather, as they say, talk of the town that is happening right now. Fortunately and unfortunately, both actually, because it should not require a certain disastrous incident or any kind of pandemic to hit us to realize that mental health is important. What I have personally observed, doctor, in the past 3 months actually,
Hmm.
is of course this pandemic has hit us, and it's great time of crisis for the entire world. It is a pandemic of a very
Right.
different scale to
Hmm.
what we
Hmm.
have maybe heard about or read about in the past. And it
Right.
seems that apart from having, of course, I mean, the virus hitting the people and millions of people getting affected by it, and as a consequence of all the lockdowns and social distancing norms that were imposed
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
control the virus, what has happened is a lot of economic activity has been halted, and people are suffering from a
Right.
lot of economic distress as well, right? So all that
Absolutely.
apart,
Hmm.
one very startling thing that came across is the people who are locked down in their homes,
Hmm.
mainly speaking maybe about the urban crowd today, who are locked in
Right.
their homes and are not able to
Hmm.
move,
Hmm.
and who literally feel imprisoned because they are required to stay home because of this lockdown. And
Right.
this 3 months of lockdown has, brought about a lot of mental health issues to the surface, right? People have started talking about taking
Absolutely.
care of
Hmm.
mental
Hmm.
health and getting stressed and getting a lot of anxiety bouts and other things that they are
Right.
suffering because of this simple thing that has happened,
Hmm.
that, oh, you
Hmm.
can't go out. Right? So that speaks
Absolutely.
volumes, I think, of where we stand today as humanity in terms of our mental health.
Right.
And of course, a recent incident with a very promising Hindi film industry actor has also brought about another wave of discussions about mental health and depression and its effect on people. And what is the worst that could actually come out of it is somehow
Hmm. Hmm.
seen tragically in that incident. Uh,
Right.
so out of all of this, what I have been able to kind of derive is it required a big, huge pandemic and a well-known face to take the drastic step for us to
Hmm.
finally
Hmm.
speak about mental health and take it as an issue. Is that the case? You as a doctor in this field of psychology and dealing with mental health cases all the time, I want to, have your take and your experience, and how do you see this situation right now?
Right. Firstly, Vikram, thank you for having me here. And indeed, this is a
Most
very,
welcome.
very interesting conversation that we are going to have for sure. Connecting meditation and mental hygiene. As you
Absolutely.
correctly pointed it out in the beginning of the conversation, that mental health has always been a very important aspect of our life.
Of course.
But unfortunately, not much has been, we do not pay much attention to it unless it becomes a real crisis, right? So
Right.
probably if we have a fracture, we might just rush to a doctor to get it healed. But someone who is
Yeah.
having a bad mood, or say at least showing some symptoms of depression, we would still want to take it easy, like, okay, it will be healed on its own. So we do
Right.
not even consider it to be a real problem in the first place.
Right.
However, fortunately or unfortunately, how you said it, the pandemic just showed us the harsh face, like
Yeah.
mental health is a real issue. I mean, it's a real
Yeah.
thing that we need to look forward to. And with the pandemic coming into picture, and also there were a lot of other events, as you rightly pointed out. One of them, I think, even there were other things which are coming in. The natural calamities that we had to face. So there were a lot of things
Mm-hmm.
which we not only at an individual level, but I think even at a community level, we are
Mm-hmm.
experiencing this. So we call it a collective trauma. So we are together
Right.
facing this, right? And then it
Mm-hmm.
becomes very contagious. Like one
True.
person posting something, you immediately pick on those vibes, even though you are not even, socially, you're not even going out meeting people, but just the fact that you read something online, it can just trigger
Mm-hmm.
something. Why? Because we are in a very, very vulnerable state right now. So each one of us has our own lows, our own emotional wounds, which just get triggered by something which is posted online. And that is the power of social media. That is how we
True.
are seeing it right now. So
Yeah.
it is a collective trauma that we are undergoing right now.
Right.
When we talk about a collective trauma, or say trauma in general, what comes to my mind is, of course, mental hygiene. And I think that is how, we together had proposed this topic for our conversation today. Mental
Correct. Absolutely.
hygiene is very, very important. But before coming to the mental hygiene aspect, let us first just
Mm-hmm.
understand when we talk about mental health, what all
Mm-hmm.
comes in the purview of mental health.
Right.
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 So when we talk about mental health, primarily what we know is emotions that bother us. So emotions
Mm-hmm.
like anger, loneliness,
Mm-hmm.
anxiety, helplessness. So these are some of those emotions which make us feel restless. There's a state of distress that we experience, and that is how we generally feel that these emotions are, where the problem lies, right?
Right.
So that brings us to the next question. Is it really bad to experience anger? Is it bad to experience fear? So
Right.
let me answer that question with an example here. Say I'm
Mm-hmm.
walking down a forest, probably just going for a trek, and I come across a
Right.
wild animal. In that situation, I am bound to experience fear. And it
Right.
is that fear as an emotion that will actually give me, a plan, like a next plan. What am I going to do? Am I going to run away? Am I going to fight with that animal? So
True.
it is that fear in that situation which was very, very important. Had I not
Right.
experienced fear, I probably would have been eaten up by the animal. It could have been something
Yeah.
worse. So
Yeah.
the point here is every emotion has its own space. It has its own importance in our life, and it is very, very
Right.
important to have emotions, to experience emotions. In fact, the fact that we experience emotions set us apart from non-living things. Even from, for that matter, even from plants. And just because we feel, we express, we feel emotions, we experience emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
so when does this emotion, especially these toxic emotions, what we call them as, when do they become a
Mm-hmm.
problem? They become a
Right.
problem when we stick on to those for a lot of time, even when the stimulus which actually triggered that emotion has stopped existing. So even in the
Mm.
absence of the stimulus or that incident or that event, we still
Right.
continue experiencing the same emotion. So for
Right.
example, say yesterday probably I had a argument with my partner. That has
Mm-hmm.
happened. Fine. It was a heated up argument. I experienced anger. I
Mm-hmm.
probably felt hurt. I cried. All that has happened.
Mm-hmm.
But even 2 days later, if I still think about it and I experience anger, 5 months down the line, I still think about it and I feel anger. Maybe 10 years down the line, I still feel it and experience anger. Now that is a
Right.
problem. Why?
Right.
Because that incident is not happening right now, but
True.
I am still experiencing it. So the stimulus, the triggering event is absent, but still I am
Mm-hmm.
feeling, I'm still going through that thing. So that shows us the emotions is actually not the problem, how we generally see it. I have people come to me like with issues like I need to control my anger, I have issues with anger, or say, I experience a lot of anxiety. That is my issue. But the fact remains that it is not that these emotions are a problem in itself, but it is the thoughts which kind of accelerate these emotions. So
Right.
even when the incident has happened, it has happened in the past. Why am I experiencing it now? Why am I experiencing the emotions right now? And that is
Right.
where the entire the seed, what we say, is the thought. The moment you start thinking about that incident, the
Mm-hmm.
same neural pathway in your brain gets activated. So
Right.
when say if I have to stick to the same example that I gave you, if I had a fight
Mm-hmm.
with my partner yesterday, even
Mm-hmm.
after 2 days, when I think about that incident, probably I am going to have that internal talk with myself. I am going to keep saying the same the same dialogue that I had with him or say her that time. And the
Mm-hmm.
moment I start having this internal dialogue, the same neural
Mm-hmm.
pathway will get activated, which was activated
Right.
at that time when the incident was happening. What
Right.
happens because of this? I am going to experience the same emotions because the amygdala in our brain, which is the center for our emotions, is going to have the
Right.
same message. For the brain, it is very difficult to understand whether it has happened or is it going to happen. For the brain, every thought that you're experiencing is happening in the now, and that is how it will be giving the same reaction how you felt then. So
Right.
that
Right.
that
Right.
brings us to the next question. Like if it is about thoughts, then in a day, let's talk about this first. There is an interesting fact here. In a day, on an average, we experience 70 to 80,000 thoughts a day, every day.
Right. Right.
And out of those 70 to 80,000 thoughts, it is only 3% of the time when we are actually in the present moment. For rest of the
Right.
93 or 97% of the times, we are either thinking about a memory from the past or we are
Mm-hmm.
visualizing something which might happen in the future.
Right.
And
True.
my experience with my clients say that these 97% of the times that when we are in the past or in the future, there's nothing really good that we are thinking about. You could be having a very pleasant memory in the past, but we do not like thinking much about it. But the fact that thinking about tragic memory or something which was not very pleasant gives us a very different kick, if we could put it that way. And that is how we
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
ruminating about a lot of things that have happened in the
Mm-hmm.
past,
Mm-hmm.
or we
Right.
keep thinking about a fear which is pertaining to a future.
Right.
Having said that, when we say that 97% of the times I'm either in the past or in future, that in
Mm-hmm.
itself says that if we could in some way or the other try to train our mind to bring our thoughts in the present, that could be so
Right.
helpful. In that case, all these
Right.
emotions which we are talking about, say anger
Right.
or say fear, we will have we will be better able to deal with it. And why do we need to deal with it? Because if we are going to experience these emotions in absence of a trigger or say a stimulus, it is
Mm-hmm.
going to put ourselves, like our mind and our body, in a constant state of stress. And when we
Right.
are in a constant state of stress, our
Mm-hmm.
brain secretes hormones which we call as cortisol. So the
Right.
level of cortisol increases. If
Right.
this increase in cortisol remains for a long time, if it remains in
Mm-hmm.
our system, it is somewhere going to affect our immune system. which
Right.
poses a larger problem when it comes to your physical health. So
Of
there
course.
comes the entire interaction of your mind and your body. If you cannot
True.
hold your thoughts in the present, it is going to be in the past or in future putting you in a stressful situation and indirectly increasing the cortisol level, which will
Right.
make you prone to develop some of the other disease, which we now start calling as, lifestyle diseases. So why do we see a rise in these lifestyle diseases suddenly, not
Right.
suddenly,
Right.
gradually, but yes, there
Mm-hmm.
has been an exponentially the rise that we are seeing, the rise
Yeah.
that we are observing is way too much now.
Right.
Um, so that is where the entire aspect of bringing your thoughts in the present comes into place.
Right.
When
Doctor, sorry.
we, yeah, go
I
ahead.
just wanted to understand. So when you're talking about, of course, I mean the hormonal effect that my thoughts and my, the thought
Right,
triggering a certain emotion has on my physical body. Is it
absolutely.
what we call as the psychosomatic effect of the when we call a psychosomatic disease? Is it
Okay.
that what we are talking about?
Okay, psychosomatic, we look at it in a different way. Why?
Mm-hmm.
The difference between a psychosomatic and say a real physical issue is only this, that the
Mm-hmm.
mind has created that issue. So
Right.
when if say there's this person XYZ and he or she has
Mm-hmm.
been complaining of say having a very bad pain in the arm. Now,
Mm-hmm.
when we take this person to a doctor, the doctor will put this person through the regular tests. They might get a
True.
scan, the X-rays, everything done, and the reports will be absolutely normal. There will be nothing
Right.
at all which says that there's a physiological issue. Now, this
Right.
is where the aspect of your mind comes in, and it is probably an emotional block or say thoughts which is giving rise to this emotional block, which is now causing that pain, which is actually
Right.
very real and very severe for this person. So we
Right.
cannot really say that this person is simply faking or trying to gain our attention. Because
Yeah.
generally
Yeah.
people do that when a doctor says that
Yes.
the
Yes.
person is absolutely normal. But the pain can be very, very real. It is just a part and parcel of their thoughts and their mind. So that
Right.
is the difference between a physical ailment and a psychosomatic ailment.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
All right.
right.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah. So bringing back the last point that I was talking about. So the entire crux here is how to
Mhm.
bring your thoughts in the present. That
Right.
that's
Right.
and that's a challenge as well because we never learned it. So
Mm-hmm.
neither in a school nor in our nowhere in
True.
our academics nor even probably in a
Exactly.
family environment anyone ever taught us this thing that oh you have
Yes.
to bring back your emotions in your present. This was never taught to us.
Right.
And
Right. Right.
that is where when we deal with our clients or say when we are working on an issue together, this becomes
Mm-hmm.
the entire say the substratum of the therapy. But then there are
Mm-hmm.
different
Mm-hmm.
ways to put it across. So we have a lot of cognitive behavior therapies where we try to bring in the
Right.
rational part. So again, when we talk about rational part, you're trying to give those tools to them where they could bring back their thoughts here and start rationalizing them. The fact that you're rationalizing again shows that you're bringing your thoughts in the present.
True. Yeah.
Second,
Yeah.
because I use art-based therapy models, we also make
Mm-hmm.
use of mandala paintings. We make use of Zen paintings. All of this
Right.
again
Right.
has its roots in the Buddhist psychology, and it comes from the Eastern psychology, where
Right.
we talk about paying attention to your breath, bringing your thoughts in the present. So this is the
Right.
entire therapy module that I personally practice, and I really feel that it is very very important when we talk about mental hygiene to bring
Right.
this aspect into play. And
Right.
having said that, I believe meditation is something which is a very our thing, and
Yes.
it's a age old tool that was gifted to
Practice.
us
Yeah.
by it has always been there, it has always existed, right, in our culture,
Right. Right. Right.
in all the age old practices.
Right.
And meditation is nothing but talking about your thoughts in the present, right? I
Yes.
think you would
Yes.
be a better person to talk about it.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Thank you so much for this. Superb explanation, and it gives me, in fact, and of course our viewers, a lot of clarity looking into, the fundamental mechanics of what leads to certain mental issues. And I want to start from there. Talking about meditation mainly, not being able to be in the present,
Right.
That is the biggest problem that psychologically people are facing, because as
Hmm.
human beings we are we evolved to a certain cerebral capability of remembering, right?
Right.
So that is being in the past. And
Yes.
we also have the imagination part of it, which is like the ability to think for the future.
Right. Right.
So, of course, I mean, you're the doctor here, but as much as my understanding goes into the evolutionary aspect of human
Hmm.
beings,
Hmm.
all
Hmm.
these processes, all these, let's say, powers that we got, cognitive
Right.
powers that we
Right.
rather,
Hmm. Hmm.
got evolved into, it was basically, developed keeping in mind the survival aspect of humans as a species, right? So we need to
Right.
remember. So if I found food somewhere when I was, maybe hunting or gathering at that time,
Hmm.
the
Hmm. Hmm.
ability to remember gave me, a more efficient hunt or gather the next time that I went the same way. The
Right.
ability to maybe imagine something and the
Hmm.
ability
Hmm.
to into the future made me create whatever we today call as civilization, right?
Right.
So that which could have been a tremendous power, and which is, and we have
Hmm.
seen what has come out of, the human brain's
Right.
capability of remembering and imagining, and what we are
Hmm.
experiencing. Even what we are doing right now is coming out of the human brain, right? The technology that we are using. But at the same time, we are facing, these two aspects of the human brain's capability as something that is making us suffer. That is also a way in which we are suffering them. So as you correctly said, that it is mostly fear based.
Hmm.
So what we always find, so whenever I talk to meditators, and whenever I talk to people who are, let's say, suffering from some level of anxiety or stress, and they
Right. Right.
figure that, okay, I should go ahead and try some meditation because I've heard about it, or because someone
Right.
told me to, whichever way. And this is always the case, right? You always try to, I mean, if you look at this properly, and if you
Hmm.
go a
Hmm.
little bit deep down, you will understand that it is always and always based on some kind of fear or insecurity, right? It is
Absolutely.
maybe, based on your past, that you have had a
Hmm.
hurt, as you said. You remember
Right.
mostly something that hurt you, and that is always the strongest memory that you have, and you kind of keep going
Hmm.
around it again and again and again, and that is something where you go out of control, and then you
Right.
do not have any control over the emotions that are triggered out of them, and you are
Right.
absolutely not conscious about what actually your mind is doing to you. And
Hmm.
the
Hmm. Hmm.
same way, it is also the fear of the future, right? All your planning, all your current action, like, okay, am I doing right? Or what will happen tomorrow? Will this coronavirus kill the world and, destroy the planet? Or whatever it is that is going
Right.
on
Right.
currently, is this is what
Hmm.
you're experiencing, is based on fear, based on certain insecurity, which is
Hmm.
basically not, allowing you to be in the present moment, which does not allow you
Right.
to experience life which is happening right now, but you are living it somewhere where it has already happened inside your head, or maybe
Right.
somewhere it is going to happen
Hmm.
again
Hmm.
inside
Hmm.
your head, right? But
Right.
you're not right here in the present. So that is what awareness, consciousness, or mindfulness, all these
Hmm.
terminologies.
Hmm.
So you of course use Buddhism as a part of your therapy. So
Right.
mindfulness as a term has been made very, very popular by the Buddhist culture in the Western
Yes.
world, and today
Right.
people talk about mindfulness a lot. And
Hmm. Hmm.
that is what it basically means, that you are doing something with the attention and your awareness in the now, right now.
Right. Right.
Right? So that is something that we do not do. So I want to take a very simple example of one of the not so much practice meditation practice, but it is a very simple yet powerful practice. So there is one technique that says that you should look at something, a very regular object which you may have been
Hmm.
seeing
Hmm.
every day. Let's say, take an example, your mobile phone, of course, with the
Hmm.
screen off,
Hmm.
or maybe your keys, your car keys. You use them
Right.
every day, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Every day that you have. But the moment you like look at them, you like really, really look at the key, you realize that you have not looked at it ever. You've not really
Right.
looked at it. See
Right.
it, you use it. You're
Hmm.
always
Hmm.
using it as a tool, but you have not really seen it,
Right.
right? So that is one very simple meditation technique which brings
Hmm.
you into the present moment. So the moment you
Right.
start looking at your key or maybe your pen, some very regular mundane object you pick up from your desk and you look at it. And what is said is that you look at it as if for the first time. That is what is said. That is the most important, aspect of this particular practice. You look at it as if for the first time. As if for the first time, meaning what? That you have always seen it, but you look at it as if you've never seen it.
Right. And so you're going to pay attention to all the details.
Exactly. And the moment you start looking at a very mundane object, like as if for the first time, then you start, noticing all the minute things about that particular object, the texture, how it looks, the color, maybe there is a mark somewhere, the imperfections on it, all of that. That is what brings your thought process into the present moment, into something that you're doing right now. Because otherwise, what you realize as opposed to this is you are always using that pen, you are always using that key, but your head is somewhere else. You're always doing something, but your head is somewhere else. One example that I mostly take is the process of eating. Whenever you're eating, most of the times in today's world, what I see, people don't only feed their mouths, they also feed their brains. Because you're seeing something. People put on some Netflix or, they will put on some YouTube or something while they're eating. They'll put on the TV. They cannot eat without putting something on. So this is something also, conscious eating is again a very, very important thing to habit to inculcate. When you're eating, you're not doing anything. There are many benefits to that. And one is what is the context of today's discussion also. That can also be a process where you're bringing your thought process to the current moment. You are not eating thinking about what happened at work. You're not thinking about what may happen in tomorrow's meeting. You're eating your food and you are with your food at that moment. So that is what meditation does. And meditation as a practice, doctor, is something I have largely seen that is not really understood properly. People think that meditation is something that is, a difficult thing to do.
I second you on that. Yes.
So people think it is concentration. People think that it is, sitting with your eyes closed and breathing in a certain way, or so it is maybe they relate it to yoga or something. Of course, it is all those things.
Yes.
But meditation does not really mean a specific activity. In fact, meditation means not doing anything at all. And when I say not doing anything, it is not doing at the level of your body. It is not doing at the level of your mind. It is not doing anything even at the level of your emotions. That is what is the ultimate level of meditation as it is, described and as one can experience it. So meditation, literally, it is non-doing. So you don't do anything. Your body does not do anything. Your mind does not do anything. Your emotions, they're not doing anything at all. Now, that is what we also call as stillness. So a lot of spiritual masters, if you look into their quotes and if you look into their talks, hear their talks, you will find out they always about that stillness. So sitting still with not just your body still, with your mind still, with your emotions still, is something that brings you to the present moment. And it has been shown, numerous scientific studies and research has been done into the effects of meditation into the human physiology. And it is now a very well-established scientific fact that, stress, anxiety, even depression and those kind of things, meditation has a lot of positive effect on these kind of mental health issues. Practice of meditation definitely, is helpful in these regards. So when you practice meditation, or when you try to practice meditation, because of this misunderstanding, whenever a person, let's say, tries to sit and meditate, so what are the problems that a person faces, or what are the obstacles that a person faces? That is the biggest thing. So whenever we talk, when I talk to people in terms of, they're trying to join my course, or, when they say, okay, I want to meditate, I try, but, it does not happen and all that. So it's always, the same thing. And it's not that because they tell them, it is just how it is. There are just two obstacles to you being able to sit still. One is your psychological activity and the other is your physical discomfort. There is no other problem, right? So that is the only problem. The moment you try to sit still, it is your body, right? So that will start aching somewhere. It will start, itching somewhere. Something will start cramping up. Something will happen. So it is your body. the discomfort in the physical body, and of course the chatter in the mind. So the moment you try to, sit and meditate, whatever you call it as meditation, whatever you try to do, you just sit silently. Your mind just won't stop. You cannot stop the psychological activity.
Right.
And that is where learning meditation or learning meditation techniques and implementing them for a period of time becomes extremely, extremely crucial. A lot of people, just go at it, like, okay, it's probably I'm going to meditate. And you may, watch a video, or you may read about, certain meditation technique, and you may try to do it on your own, and it may work. I won't say that it won't work. It may definitely work, because there is actually nothing to do. It is, as I said, it is not doing anything. And what is there to learn to not do? So it actually is very simple, but it does not come as simply to people. So the techniques need to be learned. One of the most fundamental things to understand when it comes to meditation or becoming meditative is the power and the relation of the breath to the thought process.
Right.
So the breathing pattern, again, this is also a scientifically established fact that when you are experiencing a certain emotion, you breathe in a certain way. Your breathing, the pattern of breathing is in a certain way.
Right.
So if I breathe in a certain way, if I'm happy, my breathing will be another way. If I am anxious or in some other mood, my breathing will be another way. So using this understanding, this can be reversed also. That means if my mood, if my emotional and mental state has an effect on my breathing, and because, so interestingly, you will find that breathing is an involuntary and voluntary process at the same time. Right. So it is happening involuntarily, like the beating of your heart. When, you live through your life breathing. And you can actually also breathe voluntarily, like consciously, you can have a control over that same process. And because of that aspect, you can actually breathe in a certain way and reverse engineer that particular understanding and have a certain state of emotion, have a certain state of mind. That is what the entire understanding of the breathing exercises when it comes to meditation is concerned with. There are a lot of ways to go about it. There are many techniques to do it. So what I do and what the entire work of Anmang is focused on as one of the most important core values that we hold very dearly is the importance of how of doing things rather than the what of doing things. It could be a very simple practice, but it will never work for you if you do not do it the right way. So it is how you take it up is extremely important. How you are doing even the simplest thing can have a profound impact on your life and on your experience of life if it is done the right way. So on the surface, if you read about meditation, if you read about the techniques, if you read about what to do, it may look very simple. You may try it out on your own. As I said, it may work, but if it is not done the right way, it won't work. And it will be a very fruitless kind of an experience for you, which will be more torture to you rather than any kind of, fruit yielding, activity.
I can totally relate to this, Vikram, because I think we come across a lot of these clients who the moment you tell them, oh, it's all about the thoughts, and we could try something with mindfulness, they have their own versions of this. Oh, you mean meditation? I have tried all of that and it doesn't work. The fact that they do not realize that it is not just about sitting in one place, closing your eyes. It's much more than just doing that. Like you rightly pointed it out, it could also mean sitting in a place while you're eating and having all your concentration on your food. That in itself is a kind of meditation. So we need to consciously put this into their awareness that meditation, if it's a art, if I could say, which you have to learn. It doesn't just come by watching videos and reading books, because when you hear them out, you see them out, you read them out, they talk about their own experiences. And I think meditation is a state which is experienced so differently, so vividly by each one of us.
It
So
is
most
very
of the
subjective,
time,
true.
yeah, it is very, very subjective. When people sit to meditate, generally what happens is they do not realize they are in a process to achieve that state where there is complete absence of thoughts, but they just sit and they let the thoughts come, and then they're again involved in either something from the past or they are into in the future.
Yes,
And if they're
yes,
sitting for say 60 minutes also, that entire 60 minutes is all gone thinking about
yeah,
something that has happened or is going to
something.
happen, you know. So when they come out of that meditative state, the so-called meditative state,
Yeah, yeah,
the very common thing which comes up is kuch farak nahi pada. I mean, how will it come? Because you did not even
yeah.
understand the essence of why we are doing the activity, you know. So that's
True,
a
true,
very
true.
nice point that you made because we really need to
Yeah,
learn this
yes,
act of not doing anything. Right.
yes, yes, yes. In fact, this is a very, very interesting aspect of understanding the human system,
Hmm.
which has been largely missed by the entire Western civilization for a very, very long time before it
Right.
kind of discovered the Eastern philosophies and the Indian yogis, and
Yes.
that whole wave of the West discovering Eastern wisdom, and that is what they even call it today. The
Hmm.
Eastern,
Hmm.
they
Right.
call it. So,
Yes.
so that is something which is extremely, crucial for us to
Hmm.
understand that this is very, very deep and profound understanding of the human system. It is
Right.
a very, very scientific approach. It is not
Hmm.
very so, and that is my entire work. So I want to bring is as much as scientific approach as possible to my entire
Right.
work of bringing meditation to people. So I
Hmm.
completely refrain from talking to people about any kind of visions that they have while meditation, or any kind of altered consciousness states that they achieved or
Right.
whatever. So
Hmm.
until so these are, as we discussed, these are very, very subjective things. You do not know
Hmm.
until you experience them whether it does exist. Does it really happen?
Right.
Or is it just a figment of someone's very vivid imagination? Or if
Right.
something like a great epic of a novel can come out of a person's brain, and great paintings and poems and
Hmm.
works of
Hmm.
art can come out of a person's brain, how difficult is it for us to imagine a light or some vision,
Right.
or I'm going into a tunnel or some light dawned upon me or something like that? It may happen to you, I won't deny that, but until it
Right.
happens to you, there is no point discussing that. There is no
Right.
point you aiming
Absolutely.
for that. And the whole
Hmm. Hmm.
purpose
Hmm.
itself gets defeated there, because you are then thinking about, oh, where is the light? Oh, where is the light?
Right.
Because
Right.
then that is a thought. And as you said,
Absolutely.
if I'm thinking about, no thought, that again is a thought,
Oh yes.
correct? I don't want to think is a thought. So
Right.
you
Right.
cannot work with your mind and
Hmm.
use the mind against itself. It is not possible only. It is
Right.
absolutely impossible for you to use your thought process
Hmm.
to stop the thought process itself. You cannot think it out. It is absolutely an impossibility.
Hmm. Hmm.
It
Hmm.
cannot happen. So I cannot sit and think that I will not think now, because it is
You're
like
already thinking.
you're
when
already
you
thinking.
when you say yeah.
Yes. So Alan Watts very funnily once said that it is like trying to bite your own teeth. So you cannot.
Yes.
So there are techniques to it. That is the
Right.
most important aspect to
Hmm.
understand. There
Hmm.
are
Hmm.
techniques. There are things that you do. There are many things that you could do to
Right.
bring your awareness back to the present moment, and
Hmm.
just being aware of your breath, just being aware of the gap between your breath, or as I said, just looking at something as if for the first time you are looking at it. And there are many such techniques that one could use.
Right.
There are many things
Right.
that you could do it as an independent practice at a particular day, at a particular time of the day,
Right.
right? So that's one aspect and one approach. There are many
Hmm.
other things that you could just do as a overall approach to life, right?
Absolutely.
There are other
Yes.
things that could become habitual things in your day-to-day mundane activities, like as I said
Hmm.
about maybe your eating, or maybe even your having bath. They could also
Right.
also become your conscious activities that you could do.
Hmm.
So as I said, there
Hmm.
are
Hmm.
many aspects to it, many levels at which you could implement it.
Right. Right.
But there are techniques and there are ways and there are tools that you can use. And,
Right.
one thing which I would like to just wrap up my entire explanation of meditation with is understanding that what you also spoke about, and this is one of the most, scientifically explainable and
Hmm.
practically experienceable, aspect is that there are
Right.
only three things that we can use
Hmm.
for our mental health, for meditation, for mental hygiene, as we are talking
Hmm.
about in this discussion. So there are
Right.
three things, only and only three things or three modalities that are available
Hmm.
to us human beings. One is our body, the physical
Right.
body. Other is the mind, that is the thought
Hmm.
process, and the next is the emotions, the entire emotional structure. The
Right. Right.
entire approach of yoga is also based on these three things. What they call as karma yoga and jnana yoga and bhakti yoga
Right.
is based on this
Yes.
understanding
Yes.
only,
Right.
that you can use your body, you can work with your body, you can work with your mind and your thought process, or you could work with your
Right.
emotions. Right?
Right.
These are three ways that you could actually work with. They also
Hmm.
talk
Hmm.
about working with your energy as a system of as a system of yoga. The
Hmm.
Kriya
Hmm.
Yoga system is where it talks about energies. But in my
Hmm.
approach, I still do not bring that aspect into the picture, because again, for me and for the people that I teach, it is an inexperienceable aspect. You cannot experience it. I
Hmm.
only and only talk about and let you work with the things that you can you can experience for real, right? Things that
Right.
are palpable for you, actually,
Yeah.
right? Which is your physical body, your thought process, and your emotions. These are the
Absolutely.
things that you
Right.
experience as certain realities of your
Hmm.
life.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And the entire approach that I teach of meditation is based on these three aspects. You work with these three things. That's all you
Hmm.
work with.
Right.
and
Right.
uh, and you will grow. You will definitely grow from there. As I said, it is just a matter of learning the right technique, doing it for a certain amount of time. Of course, that is important,
Right.
because what
Right.
you do, how you do, and how consistently you do it also matters. Like with any other thing, you have to do it
Exactly. Yeah.
right.
It,
So
it
you have to
applies
practice.
to all areas of your life.
Exactly, exactly. So
Right.
before you
Right.
really, experience it, or before you start experiencing certain benefits, it is
Hmm.
very,
Hmm.
very important that you also, do it for a certain amount of time. You maintain some amount
Right.
of consistency with the entire approach, and then
Hmm.
see if there are changes coming to your life, and it will come. It will most definitely come. I mean,
Absolutely.
if it is not coming,
Right.
there is some problem, whether in your consistency or in the technique, or
Hmm. Hmm.
maybe the entire approach that you are taking up is somehow maybe not working out for you. And there is also
Right.
this aspect of what will work out for you. Every
Hmm.
person has a
Hmm.
very
Hmm. Hmm. Right.
unique nature,
Right.
and
Absolutely.
that is why there are different techniques which are available. What could work for you may not work for
Right.
me. It does not mean the technique bad or good. It is just
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
one technique useful for you might not be useful for me. I may get
And
done.
I think that applies to even therapies that we give, you know. There's
Right.
nothing like one thing that works for everyone. We have to customize at some point, even though
Yeah.
your orientation could be in one direction, but yes, we do have to customize it. So
Right.
that
Right.
says, yeah, everyone is very different. Yeah.
Right, right, absolutely,
Right.
absolutely.
So what I have understood, Vikram, is one, meditative state is not something that you are really looking out for. It is something that is within, and you have to just connect with it. And there is a way to go about it. So we
Right,
need to learn the right techniques to tap on that part of your own mind.
right,
So the fact that people generally get into the experience of meditation is all about seeking something. Oh, I have to reach this level, or I have to reach this state of having no thought. But I think it is very much there. In fact, you have been
yeah,
filling it with thoughts, right? And the thoughts
yes,
are either from your past or your future. And if done in the right way, if you are getting trained under a professional how to go about it, I think it is something which really works pretty well when it comes to your mental
yes,
hygiene aspect
yes,
now. So how to
absolutely,
really keep your thoughts in the present, not letting them really be in the future or past most of the time, because it's not really serving the purpose. And
Right.
if you're able to have that level of mental hygiene, I think come
Mm-hmm.
what may, say there's a pandemic or there's any other crisis, I think you will still be in a very, very stable set of mind. So initially, yes,
Right.
there is discomfort, but if the discomfort
Right.
goes on for a real long time and it starts having an impact on your physical health as well, then I think that there's
Right.
time to think about it. Was I really working on my mental hygiene all this while? And
Yes.
why
Yes.
wait for another pandemic or some crisis to hit, right? We can start right away, keeping ourselves in
Absolutely.
that zone where we are mentally fit. So besides going to gyms and keeping your physical body fit, I think it's high time we start working on our mind. And what better than meditation? I think that's something which is so
Yes.
engraved in our roots. It's a very much
Yes.
our
Yes.
thing, right?
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Great.
And in fact, I would also like to just point out a few things that I understood from the entire explanation that you gave me about mental health, and how, of course, from a point of a psychologist, you look at it. And I'm extremely, happy and very, it's a very pleasant experience to understand that whatever we talk about when it comes to meditation and its benefits to mental health
Mm-hmm.
is something that also is a very similar and synergetic understanding that the science of psychology also has. And being able to handle your emotions, being able to have a control over your thought process, or a hold over your thought process rather,
Yeah.
by having the therapeutic techniques that you spoke about, by inculcating meditation into your lifestyle as a part of your life, just introducing meditation and other therapeutic techniques that you talked about,
Mm-hmm.
is definitely the way to actually work on your ability to handle situations. And as you said, be it a pandemic, it is just that a particular time of crisis has kind of exposed it,
Yeah.
uh, but it was always there. I mean, it is not that suddenly people are not, mentally healthy or fit,
Right.
right? It has always been there. It's just
Mm-hmm.
that a particular
Right.
pandemic or a particular incident just highlights it. And it is
Mm-hmm.
always about your own ability to handle situations. It is never about the situation, actually. It could be the biggest crisis
Absolutely.
in the world. It could be the end of the world also, but it is ultimately your own
Hmm.
experience of life, how you experience things within yourself, is what creates your
Right.
life around you. And
Totally.
having a control over your thought process, having a hold over your thought process, and thus
Hmm.
having a absolute hold over your emotions is, the way to go about keeping mental hygiene. And meditation, of
Right.
course, is
Right.
one way to go about it. And I encourage everyone to, start meditation, some simple technique of meditation to be introduced into their life. And I also encourage
Yes.
everyone to speak up about mental health issues, as you pointed out in the beginning, that when we suffer from a smallest of physical injury or, a physical disorder, we immediately go to the doctor and we take all kinds of, measures to take care of it. But when we are
Right.
suffering from something which is mental in nature, just because it is not visible, we tend to ignore it. We also, when it is happening to someone else, we kind of tend to discard it, and like, take care, cheer up, kind of an attitude is something that
Hmm.
we always see, that, oh, don't be so sad,
Right.
just work on it, and just cheer up. No,
Hmm.
so that is the kind of thing. It is like asking a person who has,
Hmm.
let's say, just had a fracture, and is actually in rest for 3 months with immobilized leg, which is in plaster. And we are just cheering up the person. Arey, you can walk. No, why are you not trying? Just try, walk. It will happen.
Right.
So it
Right.
is just like that, trying to push people suffering from mental health issues to just cheer up or to just become better.
Absolutely.
It does not work like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
It is something that needs to be
Right.
taken very
Right.
seriously, and not to worry about
Right.
it, but to, of course, take it sincerely, to seek help, to reach out to professionals like yourself. And as I said, as a preventive measure, definitely practice meditation and seek help whenever necessary. That is what I want to tell all of the viewers watching this right now.
Great. Right. I don't see any question as such which has come up
Yeah,
besides. Thumbs up.
I don't
Yes.
think
So
there
I
will be
think.
any questions. So,
So yeah, I think we are good to wrap it up.
yes, amazing
Yeah.
experience, Doctor. Again, thank you so much for joining in for the time that you have
Welcome,
given us.
welcome, Vikram.
Amazing insights into mental health,
Okay.
and it's a real pleasure talking to you.
It was indeed a pleasure, Vikram. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Take care. Bye bye.
You too. Bye.